To start today with a pop quiz. So go ahead and get out a piece of paper, something to write with. I'll go ahead and explain and kind of preview the questions for you while you're looking for that and getting that out, okay? So what I want you to do on this pop quiz, the very first thing I want you to do is I want you to explain and write down everything you know about what a refugee is. And I'll go ahead and wait because I'm sure that you have lots to say there, okay? So what is a refugee? Tell me everything you know. Question number 2, maybe I should back up a little bit and ask what is the definition of a refugee? Go ahead and write that down. Okay, now I'm totally kidding. You don't actually have to write that down because I'm assuming you have very little to say, and if you do, that's perfectly fine. We are going to learn and talk about refugees throughout this week. So refugees is going to be kind of our topic for the week, which will be an important word that we will also come back to later. So just so you know, a refugee is a person who is forced to flee his country in order to escape war, disaster, or persecution. Refugee. If you are in Miss Duncan's class, you need to write that on your vocab sheet right now. So you're going to be reading today an article of the week, and it's called our article of the week because we're going to be using it little by little, one day, every day for this week. So your job today is to read through to read through the article and find definitions for the assigned vocabulary words. So we're going to start actually by reading through that article together. I will record a separate video of me reading through it. If you want to go ahead and read through it by yourself, that's totally fine. You can stop this video now and pause to do that. But I'm going to keep rolling to tell you what today will look like the rest of the day. So first of all, after you read the article, I just kind of wanted to give you a few visuals about refugees because reading the article is one thing, but actually seeing it I found was very striking. So this is from 2017. This was updated. And just looking at these pictures, 65.6 million people have been forcibly displaced worldwide. That was in 2017. 22.5 million refugees, 10 million stateless people. And then compared to how many refugees there are, 189,000 have been resettled. It's just kind of crazy. This is the locations where people have been where people have hosted refugees. This, I think, is fascinating, and you'll see and read in our article of the week that actually different countries now have been identified. I don't remember Afghanistan being on the list, but it talks a lot about how Syria, and you'll hear a lot about how most of the refugees in the world come from Syria, but South Sudan has many. There's just a lot of conflict in the world right now. So we'll talk about this one too. 28,300 people a day are forced to flee their homes because of conflict and persecution. It's just hard to imagine us being here. So those numbers I just found were staggering. So let's keep going. What does the refugee crisis look like? I wanted to show you a couple of visuals so you could see. So these are refugees trying to escape to a different land for safety. And look how much danger they put themselves in order to do that. That's how bad the situation is that they're coming from. That was a striking image to me. This little boy in his backpack. Father, I'm assuming, throwing his son over the fence so that he can get to safety, sacrificing. This is what a refugee camp might look like. So this is where these people live, and it's usually not a temporary situation. In fact, I just watched something earlier today that said the average refugee is still in their refugee camp for 26 years at this point. So that is like a permanent location. Hard for us to imagine. That's more of an up-close situation. So this is this family's home. This, I believe, is from Syria, so just the war has really ravaged the area, and that's what they're escaping from. Okay. Please ignore. So I just found that really striking. So your task for today is you are going to be defining the required words. Now, if you're in Miss Duncan's class, they are highlighted on the document for you which ones you are supposed to define. You're going to do that in two places. One, you're going to write the definitions as a comment on the article please be really careful and make sure that you are finding definitions that are relevant to that article. And I'll give you an example when we get to that. The second place is you are going to be writing them on our vocab page for the unit. So that has also been shared with you. And sorry for making you double up, but those are going to be important words throughout this unit that we're starting. So we're going to write them there as well. Just copy paste, you'll be fine. Okay, so word number 1 is asylum, and you'll find these kind of out of order throughout the text. That's fine. This is a big one where you need to make sure you are getting the right definition for the context. So look for asylum as in like a safe haven or a safe place. That's a definition that we're looking for, not like an insane asylum. Non-refoulement is another one, and it actually defines that right in the text next to it, so don't even have to look that one up. Refugee is going to be an important one. That's our topic. Migrant, asylum seeker, and internally displaced people. So your job today is to read through the article, number 1, if you haven't yet, and then you are going to define those 6 words. Oh, just kidding. I have one more, of course. One more secret word. And this one is a required word, and it is the word immigrant. It doesn't actually appear in the article, but I think in order to understand the difference between refugees and migrant workers and immigrants, I think that helps really clarify what a refugee is. So you are also going to define that word. It's also on your vocab sheet, and I put a link in the article or a comment in the article for where you are going to define that. Okay, that is all for article of the week. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there. If you would like to hear a recording of somebody else reading the article of the week, I will post that next.